know, maybe about 10 or 12 or so minutes before I have my live workshop session with members in the Unlocking Greatness community. So I want to talk to you all a little bit about that. I think I'm going to title this, Let's Relearn What It Means to Love Ourselves. You all let me know if you can see me in the comment section coming in. Just say, hi, I see you, Z. I'm just going to talk to you all for a little bit. I know that there's been a lot going on lately in this world and in this economy, especially for those of you all who are entrepreneurs. I've heard from a number of you all, and especially for those of you all who are looking to grow in different areas. But I just put a post up a few minutes ago. And in that post, I said, we have to learn to give ourselves grace. I think it's very easy for us to give grace to everybody else. We can see people working hard and doing things, and even when they go through their downturns, hey, you guys, I can see you. We can see all of the things that people are out there doing, and even when they go through their difficult moments or seasons, we can be so encouraging to them, am I right? And we can give grace to other people. But you all, we've got to start giving grace to ourselves. And we have to learn, or I want to use the word relearn. We have to actually relearn how to love ourselves. There's so much judgment that's out there in the world and so much comparison. And it's so easy when you're scrolling on social media half of the day. Hey, Jamal, when you're scrolling on social media half of the day, and you may not realize this, but you find yourself comparing yourself or your progress to everything that you see when you're scrolling online. And I'm letting you all know the vast majority of the stuff you see out there when you're doing all that scrolling is not even real. It's not even real at all, but we sit there comparing ourselves to it. So I want you all to relearn. Let's make that a goal. We're going to relearn how to love ourselves. Someone said no volume. Let me know if you can hear me, because I thought I turned the volume up. Let me just try really quickly here. Oh, okay. Let me know if that helps. I didn't know that volume was turned all the way down, so let me know if that helps. We're going to relearn how to love ourselves. I'm going to talk a little quickly because I have my workshop session at noon, and I want to make sure that they're taken care of. If you all have my book necessary, I want you all to turn over to chapter 20. I want to talk a little bit about if greatness can hear. You can hear me, Sally? Okay, good. I pray that this encourages you all. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time with you all. We have to relearn how to love ourselves. And before I even read from this, let me just say this, you all. I think the days of pretending is over. I think in this season, in this year, and in this season of our lives, we really have to all join together as one family and come together and be purely authentic with how are we really doing, what's really going on. How are we really doing in our lives spiritually? How are we really doing? In fact, you all can answer that really quickly. How are you doing spiritually? How are you doing even in your personal growth, your personal development? And how are you doing economically, even in your business? For those of you all who are entrepreneurs, I know I'm meeting with a lot of entrepreneurs today. How are you all doing? We have to be really honest with ourselves. And we have to extend grace to ourselves because there's so much pressure out there and so much comparison. Many times we think we're not doing as well, right? Because we're looking at what everyone else is doing. But do you realize how much weight you've been carrying all of these years? Are you aware of the amount of weight, the amount of pressure that many of you, and I know it's true because I see comments coming from you all, are you aware of the amount of weight that you carry and how many people didn't get to where you're at right now? Christian says, she has cancer. I'm doing well spiritually because of it. I'm going to be lifting you in prayer, Christine. Thanks for sharing that. You aware how many people would have given up by now? And are you aware that even on your worst day when you think you're not doing so well and you think that you failed, or why isn't my business where it needs to be, or my children acting the way they need to act, or why do I go through all of these ups and downs? Are you aware that even on your worst day there are people that would love to be in your shoes? Let me read something to you all. I see the comments coming in. I'll get to in a moment. You all turn to chapter 20 from my book Necessary. If you don't have it, make sure you get your hands on a copy of it. It's pretty much available worldwide, pretty much anywhere. And you all know once a month I go live and I read from it. And the audiobook, just so you all are aware, is a pay what you want. You get the audiobook for whatever you want. Let me read If Greatness Could Speak to Someone, because maybe you all didn't hear this, but I'm going to read the affirmation to you all, and I pray that it encourages you. This is chapter 20. This is the affirmation, If Greatness Could Speak. I'm sorry you had to endure many hardships and dig deep valleys to find me. for I do not lay atop the soil. I waited patiently as I watched you search for me in relationships, careers, and affirmations from others. I'm sorry you did not recognize me when you looked in the mirror and doubted yourself, your talents, and your abilities. I'm sorry you did not hear my whispers when you felt powerless. I was there through every setback you experienced, every trial and tribulation, every painful, discouraging moment of your life. And I was there when you didn't believe in yourself. I was always there, waiting for you to discover me. I was there when you felt you couldn't go another day. I was there when everyone you thought you could depend on turned around and walked away. I wrapped myself around you and held you closely on the days you felt the pain was unbearable. I never let you go. I never lost my grip, and I never will. At last you have found me. At last you have discovered I was always within you. I like reading that affirmation, and I'll get into the chapter just a little bit, but I like reading that, and I like the smile that it puts in my spirit, because when God wrote Necessary through me and had me write this was during a season when I didn't see any of that I was feeling, and God was revealing to me that I've always been within you. I've always been there. And that's the encouragement I want to give you all really quickly, just for a little bit while I'm on this live, a few more minutes. Greatness is actually who you are. And many times we get it confused with what we produce, right? Greatness is actually who you are. And this is why I put the post up earlier today that says we have to start extending grace to ourselves, you guys. You've been way too hard on yourselves. I'm going to read a little bit more from chapter 20, and I'll share a few things with you all, and then I'm going to be getting off of these live. For those of you all who are members of the Unlocking Greatness community, you all know we have a meeting today at 12 o'clock, so in about 30 minutes, make sure you all log into the platform, because we have a meeting today, and the meeting is for everyone today, including the entrepreneurs. We're going to be focusing heavily today on preparation, on getting prepared for this year with our businesses, our product launches, all of that stuff we have going on. And for those of you who are not in business, the reason I'm inviting everyone into today's meeting, when we have our Unlocking Greatness meeting today, is going to be very, very, very important. We're going to be talking about getting prepared, getting your business and things lined up in the right way, getting prepared spiritually, even in personal development. So today's going to be a pretty heavy session we're having at 12. And for those of you all who know absolutely nothing in terms of what I'm talking about, you all are welcome to join. You can go to unlockinggreatness.com, and you can join. And we've already posted the link inside of the community. So the Zoom link that we're having is already posted. So as soon as you join, you go right into the community so you can join us for the meeting. Chapter 20, If Greatness Could Speak. I just want to read a little bit from this, and then I'm going to go over a few pointers with you all. I'm going to go over a few pointers with you all from some classic mistakes I see that we're making. I've had a number of live, what do you want to call it, consultations this week with newer members who wanted to come into the Unlocking Greatness community. And I noticed that there's some classic mistakes across the board that people are making in life. And I don't think it's a beautiful way of us loving ourselves. I think there's some classic mistakes that we make, and this is why we continue to repeat the same process over and over. So I'm going to share that with you all in just a minute. But let me read a little bit from chapter 20, If Greatness Could Speak, and then I'll wrap it up. For those of you who have necessary, turn to page 232. And the chapter is titled, If Greatness Could Speak. I thought I was supposed to stoop low and pretend greatness wasn't inside of me so others could feel good about themselves. It didn't work. Somehow I thought I would receive more love and acceptance from others if I hid my gifts and talents and remained less than who I was created to be. That didn't work either. So I hid greatness under a bowl, and only when no one was around would I peek inside to see if her light was still burning. She burned low for many years as she waited for me to develop the courage to let her shine. I did my best to ignore her tantrums as I kept her hidden, out of sight, protected from criticism. And I pray that this is really touching someone, especially for those of you, you know you have more gifts and talents than just about anybody. And you know that God has placed in you to get out there and do something, even if it's writing a book or having your own mentorship program or creating your own products and services. You know that God has given you a unique, special gift in some kind of a way, but you've not quite put it all the way out there. And that's what this chapter is all about. This chapter is about if greatness could speak, and you've been hiding it. And the encouragement in this is don't sit and hide behind what God has given you. Put it out there for the world to see. So this is when I was going through this process myself. So I hid greatness under a bowl, and only when no one was around would I peek inside to see if her light was still burning. She burned low for many years as she waited for me to develop the courage to let her shine. I did my best to ignore her tantrums as I kept her hidden, out of sight, protected from criticism. I knew if she ever fully came forth and showed herself to the world, nothing would ever be the same. Nothing would ever be the same because while her presence inspires many people, it also invites criticism and envy from naysayers and from those who choose to remain stagnant. Let me pause on that for a second because I see some of my members in the Unlocking Greatness community that's joined this call, and they can speak firsthand to this being true. Whenever you step out there, and I'm speaking to all of you all, in that gifting, in that anointing, that grace that God has given you, and you're launching your business, your product, your service, your book, your whatever it is, it's going to naturally invite naysayers and criticism. It's going to naturally make some people feel uncomfortable because you're doing something that they know that they should be out there doing. That's why the enemy comes so hard to try to keep you distracted, try to throw any and everything in your way to keep you from getting out there and doing what God has called you to do. You've got to put those comments again, baby. I can't even read them fast enough. But that's why. So you have to understand that when that resistance appears and shows itself, which I've said this many, many, many times to you all, resistance is always in its natural place where it's supposed to be. Your role, and this is what the members in the Unlocking Greatness community have learned a lot about. Your role is to get in your rightful place. Thank you, Party. Your role is to get in your rightful place as an heir of God. So that's what I was talking about when I said if she fully came forth and showed herself to the world, nothing would be the same because it invites criticisms from naysayers. So she challenges the status quo with no apologies. She not only changes the atmosphere wherever she goes, but you must change to remain in her presence. Despite my best efforts to keep her hidden and locked away, her tantrums grew louder. Her desire to shine could no longer be tucked away. Greatness began to wrestle with me in the middle of the night by reminding me she was never created to remain hidden. Never created to remain hidden. And I was created to bring her forth. As I sat in the presence of my Father asking for guidance and purpose in my life, a fire began to burn inside of me. I hope that's what's happening with some of you all right now, encouraging me to use my gifts and talents and pleading with me to allow greatness to come forth without fear. I sought God's guidance for my life as though I was searching for hidden treasures for years. I spent countless hours in prayer and reading my Bible and worshiping God in song and meditating on his words as I begged him to rescue me from my tribulations and give me the wisdom and courage to pursue his will for my life. The closer I drew to God, the more I realized I was living a life in fear of what others would say if I truly used the talents and gifts he gave me. How many of you all are feeling that now? And a lot of times what I notice is we won't admit to the fear. I notice that because that's, for many of you all, that's too difficult to admit to it. But it shows in how you show up. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. I see them coming in. God began to reveal to me that he had plans to prosper me and not to harm me. That's Jeremiah 29:11. He reminded me that I was predestined for his good will. That's Ephesians 1:11-12. He gave me the courage to step out in faith and know that he will command his angels concerning me to direct my path. And that's Psalm 91:11. Little by little, I began to lift that bowl and let her light pierce through small openings, just big enough to light up the room when no one else was around. Her light began to shine brighter and brighter. Despite my best efforts to keep her hidden, her presence could no longer be ignored. Darkness could not detain her. And by the mighty grace of God and his favor on my life, I could no longer delay allowing her to come forth for the world to see. Now listen to this, you all. I could no longer downplay my hopes and dreams. Who's doing that right now? And you may say, well, Z, I'm not downplaying my hopes and dreams. I'm just trying to figure it out. No, it's downplaying the hopes and dreams. When you're not out there going full speed ahead and doing what God has called you to do, I said, I can no longer downplay my hopes and dreams. I can no longer be afraid of the treasures that comes with embracing wisdom. I can no longer walk in fear of success because I was created to thrive, and it was time for me to walk in the power and in the authority my Father planted inside of me. It was time for me to remember who God created me to be, an heir of God. That's Romans 8:17. I'm going to pause on that one because I've already read much longer than I plan on reading. I see the comments coming in with you all, and here's what I want to encourage you with. You're going to have to relearn how to love yourself again. You're going to have to relearn how to do that. Notice I didn't say learn how to love God, because I know many of you, if you didn't love God, you probably wouldn't be listening to me for this long on this live. Someone says I needed this reminder today. I know many of you love God. Otherwise, you would have been turned away from this channel and kept going. And I know how easy it is for you to give grace to other people, right? When are you going to start giving grace to yourself? You're going to have to relearn how to love you again, despite the setbacks, despite what you may call mistakes, despite wishing perhaps that you'd done better in life. You're going to have to relearn it. And you all, this is a year, I'm telling you, there's something so interesting about this year, because it's almost as if everyone is going through the same thing at the same time. This is a year where we're almost forced not only to show up and be authentic, as I'm doing right now. This is nothing but pure love talking to you. Not only are we forced to show up and be purely authentic, I call it going back home, you know. All the members in the Unlocking Greatness community, that's what we're all focused on. This year, we're going back home. That means we're going back to our rightful position, going back to the original intention of what God had in mind when He created us. We have to all go back home. Not only fall in love with God all over again, but the difficult part, and this is what I'm seeing in a lot of people, fall back in love with yourselves, baby. That's what's difficult. Giving grace to yourself. Someone says it's easier to give grace to others. It seems that helps us to believe that we're in some way giving ourselves grace at the same time. Yeah. Because when you get that part on straight, my dear brothers and sisters, when there's a pure love of God, you're walking in the authenticity. And then you're learning how to turn around and give that grace to yourself. And all that is, when I say give grace to yourself, let me explain that for those who may not make any sense. That's really accepting the grace that's been given to you. Accepting the fact that, oh yeah, I did mess that up. Yep, that's probably true. But God, I know you love me. Let's get up and do it again. Yeah, last year didn't go the way. Yeah, I didn't follow the instructions that was given to me. Oh yeah, I didn't follow wise counsel. Oh yeah, I did mess that up. I said I wouldn't do it again. But you see what I'm saying? But you accept that grace. You give that grace to yourself again. You accept that grace from God, I should say, and you relearn. This came in my spirit this morning because I've been up since like 3 o'clock in the morning praying. You relearn how to love you all over again. You relearn it. God loves you all, my dear brothers and sisters. And the enemy can do such an amazing job making you forget that, or that you're not worthy, or that He's not there. And nothing can be further from the truth. I'm going to close out because I've got my live that I'm about to do at noon with members in the Unlocking Greatness community. These are a few classic mistakes I've seen people make. And I was going to lead with talking about this, and I thought, let me first get out what's really deep in my spirit. And then I'll share this with them if I have time. So I'm going to go through this really, really fast. But these are some classic mistakes. I've been doing a lot of consults lately this past week with people who want to join the Unlocking Greatness community. There's some people that want to talk to me before joining. Totally fine. And I'll spend about 15 minutes talking to people. And I want to say this in the right way. God, please give me wisdom with how to say this. Give me wisdom. I don't think that we are loving ourselves when we don't show up and give ourselves the best chance, I should say, to learn and grow. So let me give you some examples. I've heard a number of people say, I've heard from God and God told me to do something. I just went out there and started the business and did it. That's one little classic mistake. Now, let me explain that because then you all are going to say, well, wait a minute, Z, I thought if you heard from God, you're supposed to run out there and do what he told you to do. Yes, eventually that's what you do. But do you know how many times we hear from God, we get a vision or he speaks to us and we just know that that's what he told us to do. But you understand that there's things that you need to vet in the spirit. That's why everyone that joins the Unlocking Greatness community, the very first couple of weeks, you learn all about how do I get what belongs to me before I go get it in the physical? Because if you just go running out there because you just had a dream last night, right? And I get it. I've done it a million times. That's why I can speak with conviction. You all got to understand there's so much that you have to do to, first of all, vet in the spirit that it even belongs to you, right? Then you need to determine, is this the season where God wants me doing this right now? And then you need to count the cost. Do I have what it takes, or do I, or God, have you shown me, have I taken the time to sit down and estimate and count the cost of what it's going to cost to build and do this? I already know you guys are going to say, but Z, God provides the provisions. I know that, but he also teaches us we need to count the cost. There's a number of things that you do before you just go running out there. You have to capture that vision first before you go get it. Another thing, a classic mistake I've seen people make, and I'm going to talk a little faster because I got to wrap this up, is I had a couple people say to me, people were considering joining the Unlocking Greatness community, and one or two people said, oh yeah, ChatGPT kind of gives me my answers on everything. And I respected that answer. Let me just be clear, I don't beg anyone to come into anything. I feel that the people that come are called. But I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, she's got so much to learn with that. Yes, ChatGPT is a great resource tool. And we actually use that quite a bit ourselves. It's a resource tool. But ChatGPT is not mentorship. ChatGPT is not being involved in the shared experiences. When we all get together in a Unlocking Greatness community like we're about to do today, we all come together and share the experiences so you can learn from one another. So ChatGPT is not God. You don't substitute that for the Bible. So I know I'm just throwing some things at you all really quickly because I got to get off of this live, but I want you all to just be wise as you're using these different AI tools and things out there. I guess I'm primarily speaking a lot to the business owners right now. You have to be really wise and not allow something that's AI or ChatGPT to replace, right, connection, or to replace sitting with God, to replace prayer, Bible study, to replace getting discernment in the spirit. Don't replace that with some AI tool, baby, okay? I just want to throw that out there. Another classic mistake that I've seen from people, and especially a lot of the entrepreneurs I've talked to, is those that feel like they're called to serve everybody. And I've fallen into that mistake many times. You love everybody, and you guys know I do. I love them all. I love everybody. Black, white, young, old, rich, poor, doesn't matter. And you just feel that God has called you to just serve everybody. Well, whenever you do that, and again, I'm speaking entrepreneurs right now, good luck with that one. When you feel like you're called to serve the whole world. Because typically you end up in so many categories and you end up doing so much that you never really have a core focus and you never really get your thing up and going off the ground. So that's a classic mistake I want you all to watch out for. Another one, as I hear a number of people that say, Z, I'm just waiting on God. Now, you guys know I'm a big person when it comes to waiting on God. I even have a chapter in Necessary, chapter titled Hidden, and it's all about when God hides you. There's seasons when he hides you. So I know that that's true. But you want to know what's also true? Many times when we've had conversations, and especially when I've had some of the one-on-one consults with people, they discover they really are not waiting on God. They're procrastinating because they're afraid or because they don't have a strategy. Thank you for the hearts. Or they don't really know what to do, or they're exhausted and tired, right? Or they're fearful what people are going to say or think. So that's another thing that some people mask it as waiting on God. But many times God is just waiting on you to just show up and do what he's called you to do. And then the last one I put on here is just lacking clarity and lacking direction. I didn't grow up getting any type of mentorship in my life in terms of coaches and mentors and all of that. That just was not in our vocabulary. We were just glad the bills were paid and the lights were on and there was some food on the table. You guys get my point? So it took me many, many years to value the importance of mentorship. And so I see that as a classic mistake as well. And I've made that mistake many times myself, so I'm not judging anyone, that I would put more effort or investment into something else. But when it came to mentorship for myself, that to me was last, because I knew to go to God and pray. And for me, that's all the mentorship I need. And I didn't realize, because I was operating in ignorance. I didn't know that as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. When we have those sessions, when we come together for our mentorship session, it is literally, I can't explain it, but it's almost like after each session, I say to one of the ladies that helps with it, I said, I just wish the world could have seen all that just happened. Because it's this fire that happens when you get everyone together who loves God. We're there to guide and help each other. And then you get that training for spiritual growth, for personal growth, for your business. It's something that just can't even be replicated, right? And so mentorship is very important, that you get the help that you need. I was just listening to Apostle Joshua Selman the other day from Africa. I really love him a lot. And he talked about that. He says one of the biggest areas is people don't seek mentorship. And that's just very unfortunate, because good luck trying to grow on your own or just with a chat GPT. You need more than just scanning through YouTube videos. You need that closeness and that connection. So those are the little challenges I want to give you all. Those are 5 classic mistakes I've seen a lot of people make. I pray to God that you relearn to love yourself, and evaluate and look over your whole life and where things are at this year, and say to yourself, number 1, I'm going to give myself grace. I've been doing the best that I know to do, making the best choices I've known to make. And even though all of my choices may not have been good, I've got to give myself grace just like I give other people grace. Number 2, make the decision today, you all, I'm going to relearn how to love me again. I'm going to relearn how to love me. And for some of you, that may be, I need to get myself into a good mentorship and get some help for me or for my business or whatever. I deserve better than what I produced last year or the year before. Let me stop guessing, right? Let me get the help that I need and get in the right nurtured environment, and let me do better for me, right? So for some of you, it may be that. And for some of you all, it may be, gosh, see, I've really got to go all the way back to the basics and rededicate my life to God. I've got to go all the way back to the basis of just getting in my word, right? Getting in prayer, right? And just really humbling myself before him and letting his character be molded into my character. You want to show up. I know I'm jumping a little bit, you guys. I'm just giving random thoughts. You want to show up this year, not only being authentic, but when you show up, I literally want people to feel the essence and the presence of God all over you. I want them to feel I shouldn't say I think this is God. I really believe that God wants us to truly reflect his essence of who he is in every area of our lives, every area. So that's not only just spiritual growth for those of you who are like me, who spend a lot of time praying in your closet and reading your Bible and all that, that's fine. But even in personal development, you can pray all day, but if you walk away and you're having all these negative thoughts, and if you're still worried and you're still stressed, right? Or you have these character flaws, right? Get my point? You still got to work on the personal development as well. It's not just the spiritual growth. That's probably one of the biggest things I should have written down on my list as well, is I see a lot of spiritual people out there. Love God, can quote anything in the Bible, but when it comes to the personal development, tremendously lacking. There's very little discipline. There's very little mindset training. There's very little knowledge of even paradigms and how do you work with that. We just had one of our members that taught on your nervous system, how your nervous system needs to be regulated. So after you pray, you can be in alignment. Very little of that training that's done. And then even in entrepreneurship. There's a book by Dr. Miles Monroe called The Spirit of Leadership. Wonderful, wonderful book. I love it. And in that book, he talks about how we have to go back to the original source, because everybody is a born leader. I think that's how he puts it. There's a born leader in every last one of us. There's a business or some form of entrepreneurship in every last one of you all, whether you see it or not. It really is. And he said, well, how do you know that? You can't say that. Because I know who God is. And I know what Genesis 1, chapter 1 says. In the beginning, that God created. And I know that he created, he spoke a thing and it was done. And after he did that multiple times, in verse 26, he said, now let me create man in my image and my likeness. So if I'm just like him, you just like him. You just may not know it yet. Maybe that environment is not nurtured. Does that make sense? So that's why, and I'll sum this up by saying this, only by God's grace in the Unlocking Greatness community, we can't focus on just one aspect of it, you all. I'm going to tell you guys a secret I wasn't planning on saying. Do you all know I can make so much more money if I didn't talk about God? If I remove him from being the foundation in the Unlocking Greatness community, have you any idea the tens of thousands of people from all around the world that would come and join? If I just take out the biblical aspect and I only focus on, no, not only the biblical aspect, the spiritual aspect, if I only focus on just the business piece, which is a huge piece in the Unlocking Greatness community, just to be clear, huge. We talk a lot. Many people don't know I've been in business almost 30 years. I've done a number of companies. Huge piece in Unlocking Greatness community. They learn how to manufacture products, get books out the door, start their coaching programs, you name it. Do you understand? If we take the spiritual focus out of that and I remove the Bible as the foundation, do you understand the amount of money that would be sitting right in front of me if we just took that out? The devil is a lie. Because I believe strongly you need all three. You need spiritual growth and help with that, understanding the Word of God, who you are, what pattern are you following in the Bible. You need personal development. That's all that mindset, right? Learning to re-love yourself all over again. And you need the entrepreneurship. Because when you get those first two pockets on right, baby, no devil in hell is going to be able to stop you. I've seen it too many times. That's why I can say it confidently. You know how many members in the Unlocking Greatness community start off with, I really don't want anything to do with entrepreneurship. I'm just trying to work on me. And then when that part gets right, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they want to start a podcast or they want to write a book. Or Z, okay, I'm ready to take that class and learn how to. All of a sudden, that's because that spirit of leadership, and I'm quoting Dr. Miles Monroe, I love that book he wrote, is inside of us. So when you get those two pockets on straight, naturally that entrepreneurship spirit comes out of you, which I love. So in the Unlocking Greatness community, we do all three. I say that to say that you get help in all three. I personally don't think it can be separated. Can I make more money if I separate it? Absolutely. But God is my God. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I'm not going to do anything if he can't go with me. So I love you all. I totally went left field. I started off just reading from my book, Necessary, which, by the way, you guys can get your hands on a copy of it. It's on my site as a pay what you want. And then I went into main mistakes that people make. And then I ended up talking about the importance of spiritual growth, personal growth, and entrepreneurship, and how I don't think you can separate it. But anyway, I love you all. I love you all. What is the name of the book? So my book is titled Necessary. The book I was quoting by Dr. Miles Monroe is called The Spirit of Leadership. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. I actually have the Audible as well. I love it. So I don't mind giving credit where credit is due, but it's a wonderful book. I love you all. Someone says you went by spirit. Thank you, Caribbean. I love you all. For those who are members in the Unlocking Greatness community, make sure you guys go ahead and log in. Our meeting starts in about 7 minutes. This is going to be really powerful. We're going to be focusing heavily on preparation. And especially if you are an entrepreneur or business owner and you are a member in the Unlocking Greatness community, make sure you just log into the community. The link is right there. For those of you who are looking for a good mentorship program where you can get help spiritually, personally, as well as in your business, you are so welcome to join us. So welcome. We just had another lady join and she said, Z, bless her heart. She just said, I just had no idea that it was this amazing. Like she kept saying, I'm so glad I joined and I got in. Get the help that you all need and learn to re-love yourself again, you all. I love you all. I got to get on out of here. We got to get the meeting going. Hi, you guys. I see someone saying, hello, Z and Unlocking Greatness community. Love you all. Love you, love you. I've got to go. Yes, the site is Unlocking Greatness. You can just go to, I'm sorry, I didn't answer that, Allie. You can go to unlockinggreatness.com. and you can join the Unlocking Greatness community. Just if you join right now, please make sure as soon as you're done registering, go straight into the community, because that's where the Zoom link is posted. And make sure you introduce yourself so that I can talk to you once our workshop is over. I want to spend a little time and introduce you to everybody, okay? So make sure if you join today, you go right into the community so I can meet you. All righty, you all. Love you, love you, love you. I'm going to get on out of here. I'll see you in a little bit, Allison. Hope to see you in there. Bye-bye. Love you guys. How do I